In this video, I'll be going over how you can use AI agents today to find $1 million business ideas. We'll use AI agents to find real, validated ideas from the internet and then filter out the best ones for you to pursue. Now, the easiest way to find business ideas is just by directly prompting with an AI model. So you can literally just ask ChatGPT or DeepSeek to give you a $1 million business idea. But here's the issue with this. First, there's an outdated knowledge base. ChatGPT's training only goes up to June 2024. Now, modern models do have a web search feature that can get new information even if there's a knowledge cutoff. But even with search, you're basically just scraping headlines and top of funnel summaries, which leads into my next big point, which is that models always default to the biggest and most talked about ideas. So you're never really getting any truly unique or under the radar opportunities. And that's exactly why we'll be building Reddit powered AI agents. We'll be able to pull info from live discussions, success stories, and pain points to find unique ideas that truly stand out. Now, there are two main ways that we can use Reddit to find business ideas. The first is by going to startup-based subreddits like Sweaty Startup, Entrepreneur, Side Hustle, and Entrepreneur Ride Along subreddits. And then from there, we'll essentially extract all the good ideas that people have posted about and have success stories on. And we'll use an AI model to essentially read through all of these to provide us the best ones with the largest opportunities. And the second way to use Reddit is to go into more niche communities, read through all their posts and see what problems people are having so that you can offer a solution through your business. This will essentially validate your idea, knowing that there's a ton of people in that community that need the solution now. And that's why we have two different AI agents here. The first, again, is to go through these startup focused subreddits and then find good ideas and feed them through an AI model. The second one here is to go through more niche communities to figure out their pain points so that you can craft the business around that. Now, let me show you how this works. So for the first AI agent, let's go ahead and click test workflow. And we can see that they're getting info from all four of these different subreddits. We'll merge all of these data points together, feed it to an AI model, which will then spit out all the information. And then heading over into our startup ideas sheet, this will now populate with all of the latest startup ideas evaluated by the AI agent. And then as you can see here, we have a Google sheet populated with all the different business ideas. So we have 24 from all of those four different subreddits specifically focused on startup ideas. So in this first column here, we have all of the different startup ideas that posters had posted about on Reddit. So the first is a D2C cat litter brand. Someone was also offering virtual office services. And then we can see a more successful 3D printing company where they've even considered selling the business, meaning that they've scaled it up to a significant size. And then for a more unique idea, there seems to be a pressure washing business only for backpackers and travelers. And now here as a second column, I'm just having the AI model spit out whether this was a success or not from the original poster. So for this cat litter brand, we can see it was a success and that they've sold over $30 million according to them. And then as a smaller example, this ad inspiration platform currently has 3,000 users at 1,000 MRR, meaning that they've validated the idea and they can try to begin scaling this business. And then finally, we're having the AI model use its intelligence to determine all of the pros and cons of this business model. So this way you get an unbiased opinion on whether you should pursue this idea or not. So we can see for the cat litter brand, it is a good niche pet product market, but the issue here is that it requires significant upfront investment, so you do need the capital to fund this idea. So this way you'll be able to combine real human experience and expertise with AI intelligence to get you a true $1 million business idea. And the way this works is that it's scraping the hottest posts of the day from this Reddit, so you can essentially run this automation every single day to consistently get new startup ideas, so that by a week or even a month, you'll essentially have access to hundreds, if not thousands of ideas and finally craft out one that you really think is a proven winner. Next, let's go over the second AI agent that lets you find pain points within niche communities. If you go ahead and click test workflow, it'll open up a form for us to fill out. So we can first type in the subreddit that we want to find issues for. In my case, I'll just type in homeowners. And then for the keywords, you can just type in things like issues, problems, or any other keywords you want to search for. And just to be safe, we'll do issues or problems so that either or of these tokens or words will be captured inside our filter. So now go ahead and click submit. And then if we head back to our workflow, it'll first search through Reddit for those keywords, find those fields, aggregate them, feed it to an OpenAI model, and then from there, they'll send us an email for potential business opportunities. Now, here's what the email says. It has business ideas for the subreddit homeowners. You can see that after reviewing recent posts, there's several common pain points faced by homeowners, but again, this can be on any subreddit that you want to search for. And then it goes ahead and details all the pain points. So first is water leaks and moisture issues. Next is heating and cooling inefficiencies. Next is difficulty maintaining or improving aging home infrastructure, unpredictable and expensive lawn and garden care, And then finally, issues with contractors and service providers. Now, these are all issues that are faced by actual people in Reddit. So these aren't even people that are just typing up business ideas. These are people that are going to Reddit, presumably homeowners in this case, and literally saying what they're having issues with. So we already know that there's a demand for potential solutions that could fix these problems. And for each of these issues, we have business ideas that the AI model generates for us. So we can see perhaps a smart leak detection and alert system. We also have an on-demand moisture inspection service. Following this, we also have energy audit and retrofit consultancy, a subscription-based home maintenance coaching, an AI-powered lawn care advisor app, and a concierge service for managing home repairs. Now, this is super powerful because, again, we're taking real problems that people are going online and taking time out of their day to complain about, and we're combining all of those insights with an AI model that can help us generate business ideas that provide instant solutions, since we already know there's a demand for these problems. Now, before we continue, if you want to join an active community with in-depth guides on building AI agents and AI apps as a complete beginner, either for yourself or for businesses, then make sure to click the link in the description. Now, let's go ahead and build this AI agent from scratch. So I'll be using N8N, which is a no-code platform that you can use to build out agentic workflows on your own without any technical knowledge or coding. So just make a free account if you have it, and you can follow along in this video. Now, the first step here is to set up a trigger that starts this AI agent. So we did a trigger manually just so I can show you how it works. But in your case, since you want to get new business ideas on a daily basis, you can just set this to be on a schedule. So in my case here, I just have this to occur every single day, and we can leave that to be default. Next, what we'll want to do is get information from subreddits. So just to quickly show you what I mean, this is a subreddit called Sweaty Startup. So these are more old-fashioned businesses, not really tech focused. But if we scroll down, we have posts like this guy flipping couches part-time, averaging 3K a week. And you can also filter based on whether you want the top post of the week or if you want hot posts or even new posts. Now, the way I set the workflow up is to set it on hot posts. This way, these hot posts will always change every single day, and you'll find more gold nuggets, essentially, rather than just the most popular posts inside the subreddit. And again, because we're running this every single day, we want them to always have new hot posts coming in. If we only do top posts per week, it's going to show the same exact post for an entire week before it gets phased out eventually. So keeping all of that in mind, let's go ahead and add another node, and this is where we'll get all the information from Reddit. So just go ahead and search up Reddit here. And then what we want to do is just get posts from a subreddit. So we'll click get many posts. Now, next, what you'll want to do is connect your Reddit account if you haven't already. So click create new credential, and all you'll need is an ID and secret, which is super simple. All you want to do is open up the document, and it'll show you how to get to this page from the Reddit account. Now, for the resource, we'll keep this as post. And then, like I mentioned, we want to get many items. And then for the subreddit, this is where you'll hard code in the subreddits you want to target. Now, in my case here, I'm doing Sweaty Startup because I want a mix of first old-fashioned businesses as well as tech-focused businesses, but you can change this to be anything you want. So if you were only interested in tech, maybe you would only search up the SaaS subreddit and only get posts from that SaaS subreddit. But in my case, if we're doing Sweaty Startup, we'll just literally type in Sweaty Startup here. And then what we want to do is first limit the amount of posts that we want to get. So because we're first choosing all the hot posts, let's click that here. And then the limit is just the amount of posts that you want to return back. So if we did 100, it's going to show us the past 100 hot posts, which I think is a bit much if you want to just get all of the good ideas from a subreddit. I think 20 is around the sweet spot, especially if you're dealing with multiple subreddits like I did in the original example, because you don't want to send over like 1,000 items to an AI model. It's going to just take forever for them to process through all the data. So all this means is that we're getting the last 20 hot posts from the subreddit called Sweaty Startup. And then if we click test step, this is how it looks. So first we have their sticky thread, which is just rules. And then for the first post, we can see that this guy is thinking and brainstorming about an idea. And we can find that same exact post under Sweaty Startup, filtering by hot, Amazon order assembly. This is the same exact post that we're showing inside our N8N workflow. Now, this is just one subreddit, but like I mentioned, you'll want to target multiple subreddits, all focused on the type of business you want to start. So again, if you want to do something like tech, you can just copy and paste this node, and then we'll connect this again to our original schedule trigger. But rather than having this on the Sweaty Startup subreddit, we can change this to SaaS. And then now if we test this step, we should see the last 20 hot posts from the SaaS subreddit. So here we see a marketing automation platform. If we scroll down a bit more, it looks like this person created AI directories. The next post here is about productivity. So they're building an app that makes you addicted to quote unquote getting stuff done. So all you want to do here is just copy and paste this as many times as you need to get all of the different subreddits that you want to target. And I just did one last node on the subreddit side hustle. This typically has pretty good ideas on side hustles that you can pursue with success stories that other people have posted about. Now, as a next step, what we want to do is essentially clean up this data. So right now, if we're getting all this data from subreddits, so 3 different subreddits, if we click into any of these, on our output here, we're getting the right information, but we're also getting a ton of information that we don't need. So here, this approved.utc, this is a field we don't need. We don't need to know the subreddit. We already know this is from Sweaty Startup. This self-text field, though, is the information we do want, since this is the actual contents of the Reddit post. But if we scroll down more, we have the subreddit type. We don't care if it's public. We don't care about the awards received on this specific post. There's just a ton of different information that we don't need. So what we can do in the next step is essentially filter out all the fluff so that everything we're passing along to the AI agent and the AI model is only the title and then the contents of the post. So this is super simple. Just add a new node and then type in set. This allows you to modify, add, or remove item fields. In our case, we want to remove almost every single item field except for the title and the actual content. So what we'll do is keep this on manual mapping, and then we'll just drag in the fields that we do want and discarding everything else. So right now, like I mentioned, we want the self-text because that's the actual contents of the post. And then we should also get the title just so we know what the post is about. So everything else, the subreddit, we don't need. Approved.utc, no. Mod reason title, I'm not sure what that even means. So let's go ahead and test this step. Instead of having all of these different items, all we have for the 20 different ideas is first the self-text, and then next the title. So self-text, title, self-text, title. This is a lot better than having essentially like 20 different fields of garbage. So all you want to do is just, again, copy and paste this for the remaining 2 subreddits or however many subreddits you chose to actually read through. And then again, just connect this to the next edit fields. And then just to make sure this works, we can test this step again. And then just like the previous one, we have all of this fluff, but now we only have self-text and titles. So now looking at this, we have 3 different subreddits and we're getting the top 20 hot posts. So we have 20 edited posts here, 20 edited posts here, and then 20 edited posts here. Now let me go ahead and rename these Reddit nodes just so we know which subreddits these are coming from. We have Sweaty Startup, SaaS, and Side Hustle for the 3 different subreddits that we're scraping through. And then next, all we want to do is merge all 3 of these into one single field. So you can click add a node on either one of the 3 and then just search up merge. This allows you to merge data from different sources. So the number of inputs here would be 3, and then drag this down a little to make this neat. But all we want to do is just connect all 3 of these data sources to this merge node. So rather than 20 items coming into each, if we play this, we now have 60 items as one merged node. Now we're almost to the finish line. Next, what we want to do is combine all 60 of these items into one item. This allows the AI agent to read all 60 of these posts at once since it's all combined. So just add in a node here and then type in aggregate. And then for here, just select all item data into a single list. This doesn't really change any of the data. All this does is take all 60 of the items. So if you look at the JSON, there's 60 items here, and then it just combines it into one item. And this makes it a bit neater for the AI agent to read through all of it at once. Now let's go ahead and connect an AI model to this information. So click add here. We can click on advanced AI. Now you can select this AI agent or this OpenAI node if you only want to use OpenAI as the AI model. So in my case, I already have my account connected. So we'll select OpenAI, and then what we want to do is message a model. If this is your first time, just go ahead and click create new credentials and then make an account at openai.com, get your API keys, and then paste them in here. And it'll charge you for every single time you run this workflow, probably like a penny or 2, depending on which model you use. And for the model, you can choose either a cheap model, like I just mentioned, or a more expensive one. But in my case, this isn't something too intensive, so we'll do GPT-4o mini. Next, what we'll want to do is work on the prompt so that they can provide us with the proper outputs. Just open up this prompt window here. You can copy my prompt exactly. All I'm saying is that you're a startup idea extractor that we're providing first with the title of a post as well as the body of a post. All we want to do is for them to identify every concrete business or idea mentioned. And we also want to know if this was a success for the original poster. So if it worked for them, we want to capture that detail. What I have here on the bottom section is essentially the output. So we first want the startup idea. Next, we want success. So whether it was a success or not. Then we want the success details, whether it's a good idea. the pros, and the cons. These 5 fields here, so the cons, pros, whether it's a good idea, success details, success, and the startup idea, is what is going to map to our Google Sheets so that we can keep all of these ideas neatly organized in a single file. And finally, we just want to wrap all these objects in an array called ideas. This just makes it so that it's going to output one neatly formatted JSON output for us. And finally, what we want to do is just literally drag over this data that we just aggregated. So this data is what we're getting from this previous section. We're aggregating 60 items into one item. And then what we want to do is drag over inside the schema, this one item data all the way to the bottom. And then next, what you'll also want to do is stringify this output. So if you can see here, it just says object, but that's not an issue. We just need to make sure that this is outputted as a string so that the AI model can read it. So what you would type in is json.stringify and then just add in parentheses around the data. Here we can see we have all the information now. So we have the text as well as the title for all of the different type of Reddit posts. So an example here, we have the self text, which is the body essentially. And then we have the title, are these good ideas? Self text, title, and these are for all 60 different ideas from the 3 different subreddits. So this way, the AI model has access to all of our information now. And then as a last step, you want to make sure that this, again, is outputted as JSON. This allows the data to be a bit more neat and formatted so that you can essentially place all 5 of those data points directly into a Google Sheets. So check this. And then now if we test this step, we should see how this AI model is first reading through all 60 of our ideas, and then it's going to present us with a neat data set of those ideas. And then here on the output, you can see all of the different types of data. So if you scroll down a bit, we have ideas. And then the first field, like I mentioned, is the startup idea. So this first idea is a service where customers ship items for you. Next, we have whether it's a success or not, the success details if it was a success, whether it's a good idea. Right now, the model seems to think this is a bad idea. And then we have pros and cons here. So the pros is that it provides convenience to customers that don't want to assemble shipped items themselves. But the cons here is that it's hard to gain customers' trust to ship items to you. And there's a ton of logistical concerns. And then here for the second idea, we have a cleaning business offering office, restaurant, and gyms. We can see that this is a high demand service for repeat customers, but it is a competitive market that requires, again, logistics and labor efficiently. So all this AI node is doing is reading through all 60 of those posts submitted by users to Reddit, and then they're analyzing whether these are good ideas or not. And this gives us an unbiased look into the pros and cons of the business idea so that we know whether or not we should pursue it. Now, this essentially finishes our AI agent, and what we can do as a final step is take all this data and then move it onto Google Sheets. This way you can organize all your new potential business ideas inside one database. So here we have an output of one item with all the different startup ideas and the associated details. And then what we want to do is split this out into multiple items so that we can map each item to Google Sheets. So here, just click add a node, and then what we want to do is split out. And then all we want to do is split out, like I said, what the AI model gave us, which is the content and ideas. So just drag over ideas here, and then we can test this step. So rather than all of our ideas being inside one item, we can see that we have 16 different ideas that the AI model was able to get from those 60 posts. And then within those 16 ideas, we have first the startup idea, whether it's success, details, good idea or not, pros and cons. And the reason, again, why we split this out is that we can map all these to Google Sheets. Next, what you'll want to do is create a Google Sheets with those 6 same exact fields. So we have the startup idea, whether it's success, details, whether it's a good idea, pros and cons. This maps exactly to this. So idea, success, details, a good idea, pros and cons. Now that we have those 16 items split out, let's just map it. So click, add another node, and then for the final node, we can select Google Sheets. And then all we want to do is append a row in a sheet. This just means to add another row inside our Google Sheets. So what you want to do again is connect to your Google Sheets account. Just go ahead and sign in. Once you're signed in, you'll go ahead and select the document. So in my case, I'll select Startup Ideas. That's what this Google Sheet is called, Startup Ideas. Next, what you'll want to do is select the sheet inside the document, which is Sheet 1. And then this is where we can begin mapping out all of the different items. So startup idea maps to startup idea. Success, as you guessed it, maps to success. Let me just quickly do the rest. So details is good idea, pros, and if we scroll down, we have cons. So now let's test this step inside this completely blank startup ideas sheet. This should now be populated with all the different ideas. So here we have 16 different startup ideas, whether it's a success or not. It seems like almost all these were not successes. We have details on the ones that were, and then whether these are good ideas or not. And then again, we have the pros and cons evaluated from the intelligence of an AI model. Now let's go ahead and build the second AI agent from scratch. So first we'll want to do is add another trigger. And then for the trigger here, let's go ahead and select on form. So we'll click add another trigger, and this will be on form submission. What this does is give us either a test URL or production URL where we can fill in information. So in our case, we can first fill in the subreddit we want to focus on, and then keywords to search for. And then we can pass this data into the next steps of our workflow. Now for the authentication, we want anyone to be able to use this form. So we'll keep this at none. But for example, if you only want your team members to use this, you can set up like a basic email authentication. But for our case, we'll do none. For the form title, we'll do business idea generator. And then for the form description, we'll just type in, please select the subreddit to focus on. Now for the form elements, this is where we can type in the fields that the user, us, submits. So the first field is subreddit. And then for the text, we'll keep this as text. Now for the placeholder, we can do anything, but in our case, we'll just type in homeowners since that was my example and this is required. Now let's go ahead and add in the second form element, which is keywords. And these are the keywords that we want to search through the subreddit for. So how this works is that we're going to have this AI agent read through the last 100 or so homeowner posts on Reddit, and then we're going to filter out only ones that have the keywords that we set here. But again, if you want to set for anything like issues, problems, or any other terminology that fits for that specific niche, you can just type that in. And again, this will be required as well. So let's go ahead and test this step. This should open up a form inside our next page. And then inside the subreddit, we'll type in like homeowners. And for the keywords, we'll do issues or problems. So now if we submit this, all of this information should be sent over. So for this output, it's logging that we're searching through the subreddit homeowners and we want to search for the issues or problem keywords. Let's go ahead and actually search through Reddit using these fields. So what we can do is add another node and then we'll select Reddit here. But now, since we already know the subreddits and we can fill in all this information, rather than getting posts, we just want to search for a post. And then all we want to do is make this dynamic. So we typed in the subreddit and the keywords from the form in the last step. So let's drag this in so that whenever we type in new subreddits or new keywords, it's always going to update. And then if we scroll down, we can limit other fields. So we can limit how many posts we want to search through. This is just searching through the past 100 posts that have these fields. And then now it's going to show us the last 100 Reddit posts from the homeowner subreddit that has the keyword either issues or problems. So here on the right-hand side, we can see that their neighbor has sewer issues. They hired a private plumbing contractor. So they're using the keyword issue here. If we scroll down a bit more, we have a ton of different self-text posts that all have different issues in terms of home ownership. So here we can see that they bought their first house 4 months ago. You can see that their furnace initially didn't work. There's a thermostat issue. Here we can see that there's neighbor issues. Their bamboo is growing in various spots of their yard. It's just basically a forum of people complaining within the subreddit. And this is where we can hone in and try to offer a solution for these people. And then now, just like the previous AI agent, what we want to do is remove all the useless fields like approve at UTC. We don't care about clicked, gilded. We only care about the title and the self-text. So the self-text is the actual contents of the post. And then the title is, like you guessed it, the title of the post. So what we can do once again is to set field. Let's add another node. And then all we want to drag in is first the self-text, which is the content. And then next, all we want to drag in is the title. So if we test this step, what we get are the last 100 posts with only self-text and title, none of these other useless categories. And then again, just like last time, because we have 100 items, we need to aggregate this into one single item so that the AI model can read it all at once. So let's go ahead and click aggregate as the next node. We will do all item data into a single list rather than having 100 items in JSON. Output, it's going to give us one single item that we can send over to our AI model. So now let's go ahead and select advanced AI. Again, use the AI agent if you want to use another AI model, but I'll use OpenAI for the time being. And then we'll do message model here. Just like last time, I'll do GPT 4.1 mini. And then for the prompt, you can feel free to copy my prompt exactly or craft your own. So what I typed here is that you're a seasoned business idea generator. You'll be given an array of Reddit posts from, and then inside this on form submission, we'll just drag in the subreddit. That's what I did right there. Matching the query, and then we're searching for these keywords, which I'm dragging over. And then we can see that each post object has at least a title and a self text, which is the contents of the post. So what we want to do is identify up to 5 distinct pain points from all 100 of those posts. What this means is that they're going to take out the 5 most important pain points that we can't solve. And then for each pain point, we want to brainstorm 1 to 2 high potential business ideas that could solve this issue. And then lastly, to actually send this information to us, we'll have them draft an email summarizing these business ideas. So finally, what we want to do is output valid JSON with exactly these fields. All we want is first an email subject and then next an email body. So for the email subject, this can always be business ideas for r/, and then once again, drag over this subreddit. If you look at my email, once again, this is what it looks like for the subject, business ideas for r/homeowners. So heading back here, that's what we have as the email subject. And then for the email body, we want a concise email that briefly recaps each pain point and then lists corresponding business ideas. And then after this, we have next steps for feedback. And then we want, again, to format the email in HTML to include proper line breaks, bolding, etc. So this is what the final product looks like here. We have up to 5 different pain points, contractor issues, expensive lawn care and garden care, difficulty maintaining home infrastructure, heating and cooling, and water leaks. And then for each of these 5 pain points, we have 1 to 2 business ideas below. And this is where the high value intelligence from the AI model shines, where they're able to dissect all of these complaints that people are having and provide us with potential solutions for these complaints. And then as a final step, we just want to make sure this is outputted as JSON. So we have 2 fields, one for the email subject, one for the body. And now if we test step, we should see all the updated fields. In the output, we have a subject, business ideas for r/homeowners, and then the body that is formatted perfectly for an email. And then finally, this is super simple. All we want to do is drag this over and be able to send this in an email. So we'll select Gmail here, and then we will do send a message. For the Gmail, just connect your Gmail account. Super simple. 1 click, you're into your account. Message, send to, and then this is where you'll type in the email that you want all of these ideas to be sent to. In my case, I'll do my email, so AI code pathways. And then for the subject, if we click into schema, we can easily just drag in the subject here. And then for the body, just drag in the message here. If we test this step, it should send over that same exact email back to us. So here, sent 0 minutes ago to AI code pathways, business ideas for r/homeowners. We did the same exact search queries, so it should be the same issues. But again, plumbing issues, contractors finding issues with contractors, energy efficiencies, and all these other types of issues that people highlighted within the homeowners community. And this is how you build an AI agent that can find already validated ideas for you so that you can choose the best one to scale up to $1 million. Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to click like and subscribe for more AI agent and AI building content. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have an active school community with in-depth guides on building everything AI related, including AI agents. So make sure to click the link below if you are interested in leveling up either yourself or your business with AI.